The NBA thought they were ready. They weren't. At just 18 years old, Cooper Flagg possesses something rare in professional basketball, a presence that transcends age. He moves with the poise of a seasoned veteran, thinks like a coach running a championship team, and plays with the confidence to take and hit jumpers directly in Anthony Davis's face. But here's the thing, Cooper Flagg isn't coming to the NBA. He's already here, and the league has no idea what's about to hit them. Throughout his entire life, Flagg has demonstrated an almost supernatural ability to drive winning basketball at every single level. But what makes this even more remarkable is that he's accomplished this while consistently facing opponents who were older, stronger, and more experienced than him. The gap didn't matter. Skill doesn't care about age. From day one of his basketball journey, Flagg has looked like the complete offensive package. He possesses offensive polish that rivals guards with 5 years of professional experience. He has defensive instincts that scouts have compared to all-time greats. And when you combine those elements with elite basketball intelligence, you're looking at a player who's essentially unstoppable. He proved it at the high school level, proved it in college. And now, teams like the Dallas Mavericks, who have carefully tracked his rise from the beginning, are betting big that it'll be no different in the NBA. But this dominance didn't appear randomly. It was built deliberately, one challenge at a time, over more than a decade of preparation. 13 years old, 6, already unstoppable. Back in Newport, Maine, Cooper Flagg was already posterizing kids his own age. When he was just an 8th grader standing 6'6", playing against opponents in his own age group, basketball came so easily that it almost seemed unfair. His trainer recognized something special and decided it was time to push him beyond his comfort zone. He called up one of his other clients, a Division I college guard from the University of Maine, and set up something nobody expected. A one-on-one training session pitting a Division I starter against a middle schooler. The goal was straightforward but demanding. Make Cooper uncomfortable, be extremely physical, get into his space, frustrate him until he had no choice but to adjust and adapt. At first, it worked perfectly. Flagg looked genuinely flustered, struggling to reach his favorite spots on the court and turning the ball over repeatedly. The plan seemed to be working. But then something unexpected happened. 1 week later, when they ran it back for another session, everything had changed. This time, Cooper showed up calm, cool, and radiating confidence. And then he went to absolute work. He dominated that rematch with the college player, displaying poised, controlled basketball in both one-on-one and three-on-three drills. Word spread like wildfire through the basketball community. An 8th grader had just gotten the best of a Division I starter in a head-to-head matchup. At first, people didn't believe it. How could it be possible? Then they started seeing it for themselves. Video evidence emerged. Witnesses confirmed it. This kid was real, and he was different from everyone else's age. High school wasn't a challenge. It was a coronation. Since that training session, Cooper Flagg has made something of a habit-destroying competition that should have been far ahead of him. As a freshman at Nokomis Regional High School back in Maine, he immediately won a state championship and earned recognition as Maine's Gatorade Player of the Year. But Maine is cold, and the basketball scene is even colder. He needed bigger stages. So Cooper and his twin brother Ace made a bold decision. They transferred to Montville Academy, the Florida powerhouse that functions essentially as an NBA pipeline to the professional level. This wasn't just any prep school. This was where elite prospects go to cement their legacies before heading to the next level. In Flagg's second and final season at Montville, the team went an incredible 33-0. Undefeated, dominant, historic. The basketball world was starting to take notice. Every scout, every coach, every executive understood they were watching something special unfold in real time. Then, in August 2023, Flagg made another huge decision. He reclassified to enter college basketball a full year early. This wasn't about getting a head start, it was about proving he belonged among the elite immediately. Barely a month after his high school graduation, Flagg received his most challenging test yet. He suited up for the USA Select Team to face the Olympic-bound Team USA in Las Vegas. It's just weeks before the 2024 Paris Games began. The Select Team rosters typically feature players aged 21 and older, elite college stars preparing for international competition. Everyone on that roster was older than 21, except one person. Cooper Flagg was just 17 years old, couldn't even legally purchase a drink in Vegas. Yet he was about to face LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Steph Curry in a high-intensity scrimmage. All eyes were watching. They sent a kid to fight gods, and the kid won. When Cooper Flagg stepped onto that court in Las Vegas to face Team USA, every scout, every executive, every coach in attendance had one burning question. How would a high school kid hold up against the literal best basketball players in the entire world? LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Steph Curry were all on that court. This was supposed to be a humbling experience. Instead, what happened surprised almost everyone. Most people who watched Flagg that day walked away genuinely stunned by what they witnessed on the court. The highlights were incredible: his athleticism, his intelligence, his composure. But what really caught the attention of Jamahl Mosley, the select team head coach and Orlando Magic head coach, wasn't just the spectacular plays. What convinced Mosley that Flagg was genuinely special was something more subtle and revealing: his curiosity. While most young players walk into that elite environment desperately trying to prove they belong, Cooper walked in asking intelligent questions. He was constantly, genuinely trying to learn from the all-time greats surrounding him. Every timeout, every huddle, every break in play was an opportunity to absorb knowledge. As Mosley explained it later, it's huge for a young guy in that situation to ask the right questions. He just wanted to understand what it looks like at the next level. He's a communicator, and that said a lot to me about him. I like guys like that. With high basketball IQs who want to play the right way, they ask questions. Mosley noticed something else too. Flagg was reading the floor like he'd been doing this forever. He was unbothered by who was guarding him, playing free and unafraid. Then came the specific play that stuck with Mosley. Flagg caught the ball in the paint with Drew Holiday on him, one of the toughest, smartest defenders in the entire NBA. Mosley figured there was no way the kid could move him. Instead, Flagg finished with ease. 2 points for Cooper. Mosley could only laugh in disbelief. One season, one legend. Done. After going toe-to-toe with the best players on planet Earth, the college basketball game was never going to intimidate Cooper Flagg again. He had proven what he needed to prove. So he headed to Duke University for what everyone knew would be his final year before the NBA draft. In his one and done year with the Blue Devils, the numbers were absolutely devastating for college competition. Flagg averaged 19.2 points, 7.5 rebounds, 4.2 assists, 1.4 steals, and 1.4 blocks per game. He was the undisputed best player in college basketball, not close, not arguable, leading Duke to a 35-4 record and locking in his guaranteed spot as the #1 overall pick in the NBA draft. Head coach John Shear gave him the keys to the kingdom, allowing him to bring the ball up the floor and essentially run the entire offense. By season's end, Flagg had compiled a stunning 156 assists in just 37 games, 41 more than the next Duke player. He was one of just 8 ACC players to average double-digit scoring while maintaining an assist percentage above 25%. And he was the only non-guard in that entire group. Think about that for a second. Then came the historic performances. Against Notre Dame on January 11th, 2025, Flagg absolutely exploded for 42 points, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists. He shot 11 of 14 from the field, 4 of 6 from 3, and an incredible 16 of 17 from the free throw line. He broke both the Duke and ACC freshman scoring records. Coach Shire called it one of the best performances he'd ever witnessed. Another masterclass came in the Sweet 16 tournament win over Arizona. Flagg dropped 30 points, grabbed 6 rebounds, and added 3 blocks, while providing elite playmaking throughout the entire game. By season's end, Cooper Flagg had collected nearly every major award imaginable. ACC Player of the Year, ACC Rookie of the Year, and National Player of the Year honors from the AP, NABC, USBWA, and the Wooden Award. Only for freshmen ever. He's the 4th. Cooper Flagg officially joined an exclusive club that only includes the absolute greatest freshmen in college basketball history. When he won the National Player of the Year award, he joined Zion Williamson, Anthony Davis, and Kevin Durant as just the 4th freshman ever to accomplish this feat. Think about those names. Zion Williamson revolutionized how we think about athletic wings. Anthony Davis became a perennial MVP candidate and championship winner. Kevin Durant is considered one of the greatest scorers to ever play basketball. And now, Cooper Flagg was in that conversation. The NBA draft was approaching. Cooper Flagg was one of the easiest decisions in recent memory, perhaps second only to Victor Wembanyama just a year earlier. While Wembanyama had been labeled as a once-in-a-generation unicorn, scouts unanimously called Flagg the safest prospect they had evaluated in a very long time. A generational prospect with a floor so high, it was almost impossible to fail. Scouts described him as having Scottie Pippen's defensive instincts, but with even more refined instincts as a teenager. This draft class was loaded with elite talent from top to bottom, but make absolutely no mistake, Cooper Flagg was the best offensive and defensive prospect in the entire field. Maybe by a mile. Need him to set a screen and roll hard to the rim? Done. Flagg is an athletic finisher who genuinely thrives in that role. Need him off the ball, spotting up, screening, cutting. He has that covered too. In just one season at Duke, he made massive strides as a shooter and isolation scorer, becoming a legitimate three-level scoring threat. And if the game plan calls for him to crash the glass and fight for rebounds instead of score, no problem. Flagg embraces physical contact and has a real nose for the basketball. He doesn't have a position because he can guard all five. But where things get even more exciting and intriguing is on the defensive end of the court. Cooper Flagg is a legitimate Swiss Army knife player without a defined position because he possesses the versatility to defend literally all of them. One night he's chasing a shifty, quick guard all over the court. The next night he's bodying up against a physical big man in the paint. For a team that switches everything defensively, that kind of positional flexibility and versatility is absolutely gold. He's an instinctive, disruptive help defender with lightning-quick reactions that allow him to impact plays he's not directly involved in. His exceptional combination of length, timing, and basketball awareness allows him to block shots at the rim while still having the speed to close out on perimeter shooters. NBA scouts have drawn comparisons to defensive legends like Scottie Pippen and Andre Iguodala. When the draft lottery results finally came in and Dallas was announced as the #1 pick holder, the entire Mavericks organization went absolutely wild. Nico Harrison, who had shocked the entire league by trading franchise icon Luka Doncic months earlier, was seen hugging and high-fiving every single person in sight. The Mavericks, who had looked genuinely lost after Kyrie Irving suffered a torn ACL, suddenly had a future again. And once that reality fully sank in, Cooper Flagg was just as excited. The opportunity to contribute immediately to a veteran contender was exactly what he wanted. Dallas had defied the odds to land the #1 pick. Just a 1.8% chance, and now they had the ultimate prospect to build around. The hope that Flagg could continue growing his game while proving he is one of those rare rookies who can actually help teams win immediately. Hall of Famers everywhere. Rookie ready to lead. Cooper Flagg was stepping into one of the most veteran-loaded locker rooms in the entire NBA. Kyrie Irving, Anthony Davis, and Klay Thompson, 3 future Hall of Famers who have already accomplished everything in this league. Derek Lively too, Daniel Gafford, and PJ Washington. Playoff-tested rotation players who understand their roles and know what winning looks like. Head coach Jason Kidd believes there is genuinely no better learning environment for a young player than being surrounded by Hall of Famers who have been through every possible scenario. Flagg completely agrees with this assessment, calling it an absolute blessing and saying he is ready to soak up every single thing he possibly can from these veteran leaders. It's a good thing he's built that way, because Kidd seems ready to hand him serious responsibility from literally day one. After watching film of Flagg's entire Duke season, Kidd couldn't help but wonder, can this kid do even more? He saw unmistakable flashes of another legendary Blue, Devil Grant Hill. His Rookie of the Year winner back in 1995, Hill ran the point guard position at 6'8" for the Detroit Pistons, blending elite feel and raw power in a way that few players in NBA history could replicate. Kidd sees that same balance in Flagg's game, the ability to dictate tempo while attacking with force. Flagg's offensive polish just jumps off the screen when you watch him play. It's genuinely easy to picture him driving into the lane and tossing lobs to Davis, Lively, or Gafford, the exact same way he did for Duke's Jalen Blackney. And Dallas will desperately need that playmaking early, especially since Kyrie's SACL injury means the team will be without its best ball handler and shot creator for most of the season. 5 for 21. Still made the biggest play. That's a superstar. When Cooper Flagg first arrived in Dallas, Jason Kidd didn't waste any time testing him. He wanted to see if Flagg could actually handle legitimate NBA point guard responsibilities right now, not someday. The experiment started immediately during Summer League in Las Vegas. The results were mixed, but genuinely promising. In the opening game, Flagg struggled significantly from the field, going just 5 for 21, not great.
Ow.
But he still managed to leave his enormous mark on the game's biggest sequence. With just over a minute remaining in a close contest, Flagg came flying in from the weak side and blocked a layup attempt. He grabbed the loose ball, pushed the break up the court, drew 3 defenders into the paint, and dished out a perfect pass for a wide-open three-pointer that sealed the victory over the Lakers. That's the kind of basketball IQ that separates good players from great ones.
Ow.
Then came Game 2 against the Spurs, and Flagg absolutely exploded for 31 points in just 31 minutes of playing time. The Mavericks essentially called it a wrap for the Summer League. They had seen everything they needed to see. What stood out most wasn't just the impressive scoring numbers, but how calmly and composed Flagg handled the intense pressure while bringing the ball up the floor against NBA-level competition. By the time the preseason rolled around, Flagg was getting even more repetitions as the lead ball handler, this time alongside what could be Dallas's actual starting lineup. After initially opening the preseason at the forward position, the same spot he played at Duke Kidd moved him to the point guard spot for the final 2 games. In those starts, Flagg averaged 12 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 2 assists. But maybe most impressively, he had 0 turnovers. All while running a massive, oversized lineup next to Klay Thompson, PJ Washington, Anthony Davis, and Derek Lively too. The question isn't whether he'll be great, it's how great. Heading into their first full season without Luka Doncic, Dallas still possesses the talent to stay competitive in the Western Conference. But here's what scouts and analysts are saying. Cooper Flagg might be the deciding X factor that determines exactly how far this team actually goes, especially with Kyrie Irving sidelined for an extended period. Flagg can step in seamlessly as a secondary playmaker and elite defender without having to shoulder excessive scoring duties early in his career. And defensively, he's already expected to be one of the most versatile, disruptive players on the entire roster the second his feet hit the NBA court. The question everyone wants answered. Can he handle all of it? Can he do everything at an NBA level simultaneously? Well, given his documented track record, his incredible work ethic, and his demonstrated ability to succeed against older, stronger competition at every single level, betting against him doesn't seem very smart. Dallas's preseason as a team wasn't anything spectacular, but Cooper Flagg was absolutely the clear bright spot. It's a kind of player who helps you win both right now and 4 years into the future. He might not become a 25-point scorer overnight, and he doesn't need to. But he already looks like a complete Swiss Army knife who can make a genuinely real difference from literally day one. He's the type of prospect who comes along once in a generation. The question now isn't whether Cooper Flagg will become great. The question is how great will he become, and how quickly will he get there? The basketball world is about to find out.